Hello again, everybody, and welcome to the Tom Sawyer Show here on HBC TV 25. I'm Justin Barrientos, alongside head coach Tom Sawyer. Thanks for being here today.
Here we go again, buddy.
We're traveling this year with the show.
That's
First
right,
we
I
were
like
at
it.
Wellington's, and now we're here on the field because of what's behind us. This great big scoreboard, one of the latest improvements here to Maxwell Field. Before we actually talk about that, let's go back. I mean, Warrior football has been here in this spot since about the 40s. And when you were here as a player, when I was here as a student, you were just starting out as a coach, I think they nicknamed it the junkyard because of all the metal that was around and everything. It's come a long way since then.
It's come a long ways. You know, it's always been a cool place to play. Back in the day when we had ivy in here, a little bit of a Wrigley Field feel to it in the end zones. Dr. Kruger came in and we took all that out. It was to his sadness. We pulled all that out, but we've made a lot of improvements over the last 25 years, and I think it's really become more fan-friendly. It's been a great environment for our players to play in. But there's a lot of history here, going back to, like you said, the early 40s, and the championships were here, but just the people's experience, and even all the people who used to work on the field, like Amy Welch, who spent hundreds of hours out here getting that grass just perfect. But today we're in a new era, and that's, the board brings that in, and we'll continue to grow here. But yeah, there's a lot of history here, and a lot of proud Winona State Warrior football players.
All right, and one of the reasons why we're here is to show that we could put our video up on the board during game days, so instant replays, you'll be able to see our coverage up on the board, and that's pretty exciting for us and exciting for Winona State as well. But let's talk about how this came about, because I know this has been years and years in the making, a lot of fundraising, a lot of planning. Talk us through, how you got this board.
Well, I think the board is a kind of a culmination of a lot of people going back, back to Dr. Kruger had some visions about this. We talked about bubbling this. We talked about adding the turf, which we did in '99, and then we, in 2005, we put the suites in. We were the first ones in the suites. So we always wanted to be on the cutting edge, but this board was different. It has been Eric Show, myself, Jeff Bartholomew have been the three guys really out hustling, and really the community stepped up to the plate for us, and both personal gifts and also corporate gifts for this. And when you start looking at what costs that go into this, it's enormous. But the advantage that we have now, not only in recruitment of student athletes, but the player and fan experience is going to be second to none in Division II football and all the other sports and activities that we can now do out here on the field.
Now, let's talk about that, because people actually do notice that. Recruits notice when you do upgrades to the field and you add elements like this, because that tells them, hey, the university is really behind this program. Maybe this is someplace I want to be.
Oh, it's a huge factor. We always say that an 18-year-old kid really likes shiny pennies. And it's really true. In the digital world that they're in, to have all the things that you guys will be putting on our board is what they see on their phone every single day. You look at SportsCenter, you look at all the telecasts in college football, it's the biggest part of the game to some. So when they see that we are at the cutting edge of technology, upgrades to our fields and so on, they want to be a part of that as well.
Now, we put our shot up here just to kind of show that, but there's going to be graphic elements, there's going to be games. It's going to be like going to a major league sports stadium, really. Yeah,
I'm really excited about it, because just last Saturday we were at, I was up to the North Dakota State game up at Target Field, and I was watching their board, and it was like, I spent more time watching the board than I did the game. And so from the fan experience, that's exactly what we're going to get. So it's going to really change the event. The people in the suites, the people who pay premium pricing for our seating will enjoy this. And of course, we got even more things coming, but that will really enhance a game day from 9 o'clock in the morning till a couple hours after the game.
Okay, let's take a quick detour on that, because you mentioned North Dakota State playing at Target Field. That's kind of Winona State North, I guess, because of all the coaches on the coaching staff.
It was so fun. We had a lot of former players there. Matt Entz, the new head coach at North Dakota State, AJ Blazek and David Braun, all former Winona State players and or coaches. And to go up there and have a little mini reunion with those guys and watch them beat Butler was really fun, because I don't get a chance to go watch college football much except ourselves. So we took advantage of the day, saw all their families. We were up there with our families, and it was really a special day for Warrior football.
Yeah, I saw a bunch of pictures that you posted.
Yep.
AJ Blazek, I think, is up there too, and so he was happy to see you guys as well.
Yeah, absolutely. AJ is, he was a great community guy when he's here. He's the same bubbly self, and Dave Braun we recruited from the time he was a freshman in high school, and he played for us, was a 2-year captain, and of course Matt Entz with one of his first jobs, their first coordinator job was right here, and now to see him as Division I head coach, I'm very, very proud of all three of those.
All right, let's get back to the stadium here. This is not the end. This is maybe the middle, maybe the beginning. There's other things that are going to be planned for the stadium.
Yeah, the stadium renovation is really a $5 million project. Overall, this was the first million that you're looking at now, or close to it. We also have an event deck that'll finish out the south end zone, which will be amazing. It'll be 10 feet off the ground. It'll have room for between 200 and 300 people. So instead of having people sitting on the ground in the end zone, now they're going to be 10 feet off the ground, like outdoor suites.
Sure.
And then on the east side over here, we're also looking at putting new locker rooms in there. So Cotter will have a new locker room in here for their home games, bathrooms, concessions. And then part of the $5 million renovation is also the student section. So eventually what we're looking at, Justin, is to really raise this whole stadium up 10 feet off the ground. It'll be like playing football on a basketball court. But we will definitely, by far, I really truly believe, have the best facility in Division II football.
Okay, and one other part, the turf. That's next year's project, right?
Yeah, we hope to get it done next year. That's all part of contracts here with the pouring rights on our campus and those things. But we're in our 10th season, and that's usually what we do. We put it, the first brand was in '99, then second one was 2009. Here we are in 19. So hopefully we continue that, and it goes perfectly with the renovations. And what we're trying to do is to get everything up and running here by next fall.
All right, let's talk a little bit about the week in practice. When we talked last week, we were 2 weeks away. We're trying to figure out how that week looked. Now we're in game week. What's the difference between 2 weeks out and this week as you prepare for Wayne State?
Well, now everything that we do has a purpose to it. Not that it didn't in preseason practice, but now, our Tuesday we have these things. We have this on Thursday and this on Friday afternoon, and we have a banquet this weekend. Our $100 dinner is Friday night, but our kids are in a different focus. We have a kind of a really neat mix between old guys, like some of the guys we're going to talk to today, and then we have a lot of young kids that are making some noise in practice. So now it's really focusing on Wayne State, our number one opponent coming in here Saturday, and really trying to make sure we fine-tune the things that we do best, and I think we got a pretty good handle on that.
All right. Is your starting lineup pretty much set, or your different reserves and packages that you bring in, is that set, or are people still fighting for positions during this week of practice?
Well, I think there's still there's some internal fighting for time. I think our starters are set. I think we're ready to go with our ones and most of our twos, but those twos are in the battle right now because one is a true freshman or a transfer going to fit in? Are they ready to go yet? Is that freshman from last year really ready to go yet? So they still need some quality reps this week. But we'll have our two deeps ready. I mean, we have them listed, but who's going to go in the game, we'll still make final determinations yet this week.
All right, we have less than a minute to go and less than 4 days until game day. So now what happens the next couple days as you lead up to that last day before game day?
Well, still, our priority still is keeping our guys healthy. We really feel like we have a much better chance. We got our best players playing on the field instead of standing next to me like they did last year. So it's really, it's fun to watch our young guys, our guys that were hurt last year come out. The enthusiasm they have is amazing. So really now it's trying to calm them down and get ready for a game. And really, as long as we have our mind clear and our bodies healthy, I think we can put on a great performance.
All right, we're going to take a break here on the Tom Sawyer Show. When we come back, we'll talk with Nick Pridgeon. That's right after this.
The Red Sox are 1 out away. And the Dodgers are down to their final strike. Here comes a 1-2 pitch. Red Sox win the World Series! And the best team in baseball wins it all.
Every Monday, take a staycation in your own backyard
This is gorgeous.
It's beyond amazing.
with DIY Network's all-new Pool Kings.
This is insane.
Our backyard is now a resort.
Live the fantasy in your private paradise.
This is incredible. 2 waterfalls.
Look at the bridge. It looks so cool.
Life's better poolside.
It's amazing.
Beyond my expectation.
All new Pool Kings, Monday night at 9 on DIY.
Would you believe?
A well-known fertility doctor used his own sperm to father countless children.
I stacked the deck.
You did terrible harm.
My mom was a patient of your father's.
Let's find out if I share a special bond with a stranger.
Keep preaching.
How's our father doing? I'm just dying to get to know him.
People want answers. I want answers.
If they take me down, it'll destroy you too.
How many others do you think there are?
Dozens more.
Almost Family, coming this fall to Fox.
And welcome back to the Tom Sawyer Show here on HBC TV 25. Nick Pridgeon now joins us. Thanks for being here today.
Thanks for having me.
You know, Coach was talking about players coming back from injury. Obviously, you are one of those. And you talked to us during the spring game a little bit about the process of coming back, but just to remind people, what was your injury last year, and what was the process of working through that?
So prior to the season, I was diagnosed with a hip impingement in my left hip, and decided, with the coaching staff, athletic training staff, that I'd be able to play through it, just have to manage the pain. And then second game, tore my ACL in my left knee. Luckily it was just ACL, no meniscus or anything like that. Got rolled up on. And then since I had to have surgery on the ACL, decided to go along and have surgery on the hip as well. So that's what I went through this off season. And yep.
We always kind of wonder what is going through a player's mind when they get an injury. In that situation, what was going through your mind?
Not a lot of good things. Obviously, you're really sad, want to be out here in the field as opposed to the sideline. But your mentality really has to, change with an injury like that. Especially as a leader, I have to lead in different ways and, learn from the coaches and kind of take a coaching approach and really lean on the other guys to help me through the injury, as well as athletic training staff and teammates. So.
Nick, one of the things you mentioned about leadership and leading the football team, but you're our first time, at least in my era, the first time as a 3-time captain voted on by your teammates. What did that mean to you and your family, and talk a little bit about your role?
It means the world to me. My mom was especially proud and happy about that. But going through injury last year, not being able to play, really made me happy that I was voted as a 3-time captain this year, because not being able to play is the one way that I can lead on the field and lead my teammates, and not being able to do that and still being voted as a captain meant a lot. So I'm very happy that I'm in this position and excited to get back to it this year.
Tell me about the decision to come back, because you've graduated, correct?
Mm-hmm. Yep.
And so now you're taking graduate classes to be able to be eligible to play football.
Yep.
One more year. What was the decision to come back for one more year?
Pretty easy. Didn't want my career to end that way. Didn't even go through my mind to, leave. So I was really excited that I did have the opportunity, because I know a lot of athletes, their career ends if the injury comes halfway through the season. Max Mickey, running back for Sioux Falls a couple years ago, best player I've ever played against. He tore up his knee halfway through the year, and that's how his career ended. So luckily, silver lining is my injury came within the first couple weeks, so great to have this opportunity and excited to show what I've been working for.
Okay. Talk about some of the things that maybe you were doing during the season when you were on the sidelines next to coach, next to your other players. Did that kind of spur maybe like a coaching thing in you that maybe you want to follow that after your playing days are done?
I think I've always wanted to be a coach. Don't know what level, but definitely since I've started playing football, always looked at doing that role after I'm done playing. So being able to, get a little experience that way meant a lot. So excited that, I get to play this year, but excited that I also got that experience.
The last question I have is, just two things. One is, the pro scouts are still in practice. They still have a little bit of interest in you, and I'll say a lot of interest in you at this point. How does that feel? And then the second one is you also had a little interview special day with the FBI in Chicago. So there's some other things coming ahead of you. What's your future like in your mind right now?
Future's pretty bright. Right now I'm not trying to think about that too much. I got Wayne State on my mind right now, but I'm glad that I have those opportunities lined up for me in the future, and the ability to go either direction with that is great. Really looking forward to that. FBI is, about as elite as the NFL, so being able to talk to them and as well as the scouts is big, and I'm excited for that.
Very good.
Very good. Let's talk about Wayne State. You said Wayne State is on your mind.
Yep.
Talk to Coach about what the coaching staff is doing in these last couple days before the game. For you as a player, what do these last few days look like for you?
Pretty similar to camp, just keep working hard, making sure we're doing all the little things right, going to class now that we started class, paying attention in meetings, taking extra notes, getting extra meeting time with the coaches, whatever is necessary to beat Wayne State on Saturday. That's what we're doing right now, and that's the one thing on my mind, so really looking forward to that.
All right, last question that I have for you then is, as game day comes up, do you have any thoughts on what the feeling is going to be like to start another season and get back on this field again?
Definitely excited. those freshman nerves are coming back a little bit, just to get back out there. I've been waiting, 9 months, so really looking forward to that.
All right, well, thank you for joining us here today, and good luck this season.
Thanks for having me.
All right, we're going to take another break here on the Tom Sawyer Show. When we come back, Owen Burke will join us right after this.
Another day in paradise, the sun is shining bright.
Its teeth were clenched around my arm.
People laugh and people smile.
I felt my body dying.
Everything feels all
It was like razor blades in my leg.
I felt like a rag doll.
It looked like a scene from Jaws.
It was a pretty rough trip.
She was eating me alive.
Summer never ends.
Less weight, more speed.
Meanest looking Mini on the market.
Look at the size of this place.
We got a bigger shop, bigger overheads. We're gonna have to step up the game.
This is the coolest thing ever.
It's a real transformer. Super clean, nice and mean. That's what a race car sounds like.
Goblin Works Garage. New episodes every Wednesday at 9 on Motor Trend.
And welcome back to the Tom Sawyer Show here on HBC TV 25. Owen Burke now joins us. Thanks for being here today.
Thanks for having me.
So we did themes last year. I guess it's Captain's Week. This week you were named one of the 4 captains for the team this year. What was that like for you to be named a captain?
It really meant a lot to me that my teammates would think of me as a captain. I was very honored, but my mindset's still the same. We have a lot of people on this team that didn't get named captain that are leaders in their own. So, but it did really mean a lot to me.
All right.
One of the things about being an offensive captain, we got 3 guys on the defense this year. You're kind of the lone rider over there, but we had 26 kids that got votes for being a captain. But there's something special about being a captain and being a quarterback. How has that changed your role, if any? And tell me a little bit about how your parents, how excited they were when they heard the news.
My parents were excited, but I think they kind of expected that from me. And like you said, as a quarterback, you're kind of expected to be a leader. And so on the offensive side, being the only captain name, but we have a lot of great leaders in each position group, which really makes my job easy because, I could talk to them about things that happen, then they could bring it up in their position meeting.
Yeah. Walk us through what it was like last year, your first year as a starting quarterback in college. All the spotlight is on you. How do you think you handled last season?
Finished 8-3 last season. I think I had a lot to improve on, a lot to work on in the off season, and first full year starter. Nothing really changed mindset-wise. Just trust the game plan, take it game by game, and just have confidence in myself in the offense.
How different was it starting in college compared to starting in high school?
It's much different. It's all preparation leading up to each game. You have that full week, and you really get what you put into it.
What is that different preparation like going from high school to college? How much more time are you spending on the playbook? How much more time are you spending on the field, in the weight room, all that?
I don't even know if you can compare the two. It's just so much more time. But, it's something that you have to really enjoy to do to play college football. If you don't enjoy the stuff off the field, the film, if you don't enjoy practice, lifting, then you shouldn't be a college football player. But, yeah.
I was going to ask you just a little bit more about our offense. And we have some, I think, pretty explosive components, but having healthy guys like Javian Roebuck running around and that kind of stuff. But what do you think are the keys to our offense being more explosive this fall?
The keys just same game plan every week. Move the sticks, stay ahead of the sticks, and score in the red zone. I think if we do that, really trust the process that we put in the off season, I think we'll be just fine.
One of the things that now that you've been working with Coach Keller now for 4 years,
yep.
You guys basically rewrote our playbook because you know it as well as he does. But how important is that communication on game day?
That communication is huge. We see different things that we might have thought they were going to do one thing on film, they bring something else out. So to be able to communicate little changes and stuff like that all the way through the offense from the receivers, running backs, linemen, I think that communication is very key to winning games, such like that.
Let's talk about that playbook because I know Coach Sawyer loves to call gadget plays, loves to do the Statue of Liberty, other different plays like that. When you see that play call come in, what are some thoughts that go through your mind? Do you like the gadget plays as well?
Yeah, I do. Like Coach said, Statue of Liberty, that's his play, and it's worked really well for us in the past. I think my first start in Minot, we had that one run for 50 yards, and we ran it wrong, and it still worked. So I do like to use those plays a lot, yeah.
Okay, and then tell me a little bit about this past offseason. What are some of the things that you did this offseason with a year under your belt to come back and to be a starter this year?
We just tried to really iterate to the team that it's important for all of us to be here in the summer. It's not mandatory. Obviously, coaches can't be here, but as a team, we just try to make it as like a leadership kind of deal where you know, you're holding your roommates accountable, you're holding your position groups accountable to get in the weight room, get in the film, make sure you're running. And also, we did a lot of stuff this season with just 7-on-7 against each other, getting those bonds between receivers, quarterbacks, running backs, stuff like that.
You know, one of the things that I think is pretty cool is in our changes up front, because we have made a great effort in the last couple of years to increase the size of the people protecting you. And one of them standing over here, Carter Berlin, we'll give him a shout out because he's out here protecting you even for the show. But more importantly, what's it like having those guys up there? We've got some old guys and some new guys. Tell us about the big boys.
Oh, I mean, that's huge. Just knowing that you have so much more weight up front gives me a little more confidence. And like you said, shout out Carter. He's done a great job with those young guys. He's the oldest guy on the O-line right now out of our starters, and we do have a lot of young guys that have played a little bit, some haven't played at all, and they're stepping up because Carter's pushing them each and every day. And so just starting with the O-line up front, that change, I think it's going to be crucial to our run game and our pass game this year.
Excellent.
All right, talk a little bit about the passing game and about some of the targets that you have. How do you think the passing game will go this year?
We got a lot of returners. You know, losing Isaiah will be big, but Connor Schultz, this will be his 5th year. He's been in. Ty Anderson's played a lot of minutes. Tanner Grant and Jake Blue, having them back, both healthy. I think we're going to be exceptionally well outside.
All right, last question that I have. We're out here on the field to see the new scoreboard and everything, and I know that's probably the last thing on your mind, but you had to have a reaction when you saw it for the first time. What do you think about some of the changes that have happened here?
I mean, that's huge. That's just Coach Sawyer following through with his word. You know, he told us that Winona State, you know, we're going to try to change. We're going to try to get that little it factor to push us over the limit, and he's followed through with everything he said. Seeing that scoreboard, that's just going to bring more fans to the game, and just to see us perform, that's going to be awesome.
All right, well, thank you for being here today.
Thank
Good luck
you.
This week. We're going to take a break here on the Tom Sawyer Show. When we come back, we'll talk about this week's opponent, Wayne State. It's right after this.
Brand new kids, brand new challenges.
You know what that means.
A brand new season of Kids Baking Championship.
Most fun cake I've ever made.
Wow, am I excited to bite into this.
Topping your giant donut with regular donuts.
Yeah. Those decorating skills are going to come out. Fun, right? Wow. Wow. Who will beat the competition to become Kids Baking Champion?
All new Kids Baking Championship, Monday night at 9 on Food Network.
7 hours of football start now. Holy Toledo! We are loaded with every touchdown down the sideline. What a catch! From every game. Unbelievable! Every Sunday afternoon. Dives for the pylon, he made it. Move the sticks. Hello! With some patience and some burst. Touchdown! We were built for days like today. What's all the noise?
Motor Mondays are all new.
That's a great idea.
With Richard and Aaron reunited on one night.
Yep, you heard that right.
First, Fast and Loud at 9.
This year is going to be big.
Action!
Followed by Aaron Needs a Job at 10.
Come on, Kaufman, let's go!
The goal is to turn heads and blow minds. A couple of sticks of steel and no big deal.
Fast and Loud Mondays at 9. Followed by Aaron Needs a Job at 10 on Discovery.
And welcome back to the Tom Sawyer Show here on HBC TV 25. One more segment here on the show this week. And I want to talk first, before we get to Wayne State, about the captains. Because Nick Pridgeon, as he said, 3-time captain. That's kind of unheard of. Michael Gomez is going to be a captain again this year. That's his 2nd time. And then you have Owen Burke and Devon Moore. Devon Moore is quite a story from all the different places that he was, offense, defense, all the different changes that he made. Yeah. Did that factor into him becoming a captain this year too?
I think it factors into his ability to melt in or blend in with everybody on our football team. The other guys have an outgoing personality as well, but by him playing both sides of the ball, I think it gives him a little bit more credence with everybody on the team. He's paid his dues, and he's a tremendous effort guy. When he's on the football field, there's not many better. So I think all of that added up to him receiving a ton of votes.
All right, and so that anybody can nominate anybody as captain?
Yep. Everybody votes for their top 4 or 5, and some years we've had 3, some years we've had 5, and then we also vote as a staff, and we review them afterwards, and I make the final selection. But these are our top 4 vote getters, and like most 99% of the years. But it was pretty there's a drop down not too far, but like I mentioned earlier, there's 26 kids that got votes, and that's more than 1 or 2. So these guys were the top 4, and we're excited to have them lead us.
All right, let's talk a little bit about Wayne State then. They had kind of a down year last year. You had them week 1 at Wayne. You're able to win that one fairly handily. How are they different this year, and what's the plan for this week?
Well, they got a couple different things. One is they got a transfer quarterback in from South Dakota that was at the University of South Dakota as a redshirt a year ago. So we know what kind of ability he has. Actually, 2 quarterbacks that can throw the ball pretty well. They got new skill players, so we're not sure about those guys. But defense is really where their mark is. They have tremendous guys up in the front 7. Their top linebacker wasn't on there too deep, so I'm not sure if he's going to play. But Pribno, the D-line kid, is exceptional. He can make some things happen. So I think the matchup there is their front 7 against our offensive line and our tight ends and our ability to move the football. But the rest we're going to have to find out when they get here. But I do know they'll have some changes, but I know that Coach McLaughlin always has them ready to go to be a physical football game.
All right, and for Winona State, obviously there's a lot of names that are familiar that are coming back. Is there anybody that is in the starting lineup, or maybe one of the key reserves that's going to be a big player, a big impact player that we haven't heard of yet?
Well, probably not. I think Jalen Schleicher is a tight end. He played for us a little bit last year at tight end. He's much improved now. He's much bigger. Those kind of things. Getting Javian Roebuck is huge. He's back. And it's more about getting the guys back than it is really new players. And I guess I don't have a great answer for you there because we have so many kids back that weren't playing a year ago.
Right.
We're just bringing the old guys back instead of adding new guys. But there are a couple freshmen that are playing. One on the offensive line. Declan's a really good player, and Sawyer Malley might be a receiver that we put in the lineup. So we'll see. But we got some tremendous old guys, and it's just really refreshing to get those faces back.
All right. We've mentioned some of the usual suspects that were injured last year that are coming back. I think you had mentioned Cam Gavin is also going to be back this year. How big is it to get him back as well?
Well, he's the quarterback back there, at free safety, and he's been starting for 3 years as well. So just to get him back there calms everybody else down because everybody was looking at him. And when he went down, there really wasn't anybody to look to. Cole Moncton's been a 4-year starter for us. Isaiah Hall, he's a tremendous player, All-American last year at the other corner. And then Romo's the other safety, and he's been playing for 3 years. So, we have a lot of experience, but Cam is still that guy, and he makes a lot of plays. He's got long arms, he's quick-twitched, he's well coached by one of our former players, Luke Lokank, and just a guy that makes things right back there. Even if it's wrong, he can make them right. So we're very excited to get him back in the lineup.
We got a couple minutes, so I want to expand a little bit on one of the things we talked about last week, and that's the kick return game. And your 2 guys are coming back, in Jake Ballou and Isaiah Hall. And I just want to know, what is it like to have those kind of weapons there that at some point teams are going to try to kick away from? They don't want them to have the ball.
Yeah, well, it's tough to kick away from 2 guys. They may try to sky them up and do those things, but we're ready for that as well. But when you have that kind of talent back there, and punt returns the same, but those 2 guys are amazing. They're really very good. And we go back to David Ludy and Kevin Curtin and some of those kind of guys, the Walsh brothers. I mean, you're talking these guys are right there, maybe even a little bit better at that skill. So it's really fun to see how teams are going to respond to it. But if they want to sky kick and give us better field position, we'll take that too. But probably won't be fair catching much because if we get a chance to take it out, we're probably going to.
All right. Well, thank you for joining us this week, and good luck against Wayne State.
Appreciate it.
All right. Thank you for joining us, and we'll see you next week here on the Tom Sawyer Show on HBC. All right. Very good.
Very good. Knocked it out.
Awesome.